Hey y'all, so this video is just a little quick, well, I hope it ends up being quick video, just to kind of give you an idea about the little voodoo doll kit. This is for those of you who bought the Dark Circle box, the Voodoo Queen Dark Circle box, or if you want to make your own. I mean, you know, you buy your own and make it. It's very easy to do. So here's what you're going to get. This little packet. This is what you'll be receiving. I don't have the instruction, the little printout with me to show you with this bag, but I'm basically going to go over it with you. Maybe not word for word, but give you the gist of it. So this is what you'll be getting, and inside your little kit, get in there, you'll get a candle, and all of these items I've had those out under the moon and the sun, that way they can charge. But this is the candle you'll be getting in there, and this has been carved. I did another video on these candles and how to prepare these, but basically you just take something sharp. This is what I used. This is a selenite wand. It's got a nice sharp tip, and I used this to carve out my symbol on each candle. This y'all is my symbol for life. I don't know if you all can see it pretty good, but if you're doing the carving yourself to make your own candle, you have to make sure you get your lines, so you can see that right there, how deep they are. Get them pretty deep, otherwise your whatever you're packing in here, it's gonna fall out. So you'll get a candle. You'll get a Palo Santo stick. This is my favorite to use. I have nothing against sage. I use sage, but the Palo Santo is my favorite. And this is the incense blend. This is what you'll use, if you choose to, excuse me y'all, to pack into your candle, into the symbol on your candle. And as I've said, I did a video showing how to do that. Mine's sitting right here. That's what it looks like once you get a little oil on there and get that packed in there. That just kind of brings out that symbol on your candle. Okay, now in your bag, I decided not to do the what most people are familiar with, the little cloth voodoo dolls. There's nothing against them. I think they are adorable. I love them, but they're so mainstream. If anybody says voodoo doll, that's what most people think. That's what you can go and buy in any little touristy store in any witchy neighborhood. So I didn't want to use those. They're adorable. I love them. I have them, but I wanted to do something different. So I chose salt dough. And the reason I chose salt dough, and look at him. He's got all of these little cracks. Look how much character this guy has. I chose salt dough because you can load it up with whatever you want into the dough before it hardens. That way you already have your herbs, your resins, whatever you want to add into the dough. Not only that, but like say I wanted to keep this, I could take a resin, I don't know, like kind of like that Mod Podge stuff or clear paint, and I could paint over this to give him a little more durability. But generally, if you have a puppet or a voodoo doll, whatever you call it, you're not going to keep it for a long time. You have it. Once the work is done, you get rid of it. And one of the ways to get rid of it is to bury it. You could take it out in the, some people leave it at like the crossroads. Some people throw it into a body of moving water. You could bury it in the ground, let the ground take it back. Some people don't have that option. And with this salt dough, all you have to do is soak this in water, and it's going to fall apart, y'all, because it's salt dough. And to make these, if y'all wanted to make your own, it's the recipe that I chose to use anyway is a cup of salt to 2 cups, or 1 part salt to 2 parts just regular all-purpose flour. Now, I added 2 in here, and like I said, these are rough cut little dolls. I didn't want them too streamlined and pretty. I wanted to keep them cute, but not overly done. Does that make sense? I didn't want them to look anything like something you could go to the store and buy. So, excuse me, y'all. I didn't worry about all the little cracks, and like some of them, let me see, like this one, like you can still like see some of the flour and stuff on it. Yeah, I like that. Anyway, if you don't like that, you could like put together your own and make it, because it doesn't take much. Now, I put 2 in here, and the reason I did that, each bag has 2. Let me put that out there first. I get ahead of myself, y'all. One is stamped with the little cute little voodoo doll guy on it, and I painted it with a I painted his heart with a mixture of dove's blood ink and dragon's blood ink. I had to add some dove's blood in there because the dragon's blood wasn't quite red enough. And I wanted it really dark red and pretty. I wanted it to stand out. Then I added just a regular little doll. That way, if you didn't like all of this or want all of this on yours, you could just use this one. When I started out, I was thinking maybe we could take those, because I've done that before, and like match them together. And I tried to make everyone's so that they could do that if they wanted to. That way you could put the 2 pieces together, take some twine, and go around them to hold your 2 sides together if you wanted like something more sturdy, a thicker doll. But I don't think that that's ideal. If you choose to do that, you're going to put your petition in the center and twine it together, and you take your candle and seal the edges. That's harder for a lot of people to do. I've done this a lot, and it can even be a little bit difficult for me to do, which is why I'm going to show you all how to do just the one-sided method. Now, you'll see on all these little specks and dots and little pieces in them. Some have more than others. If you smell them too, they smell really good. I'm going to put this one back up. But there's all of that in there. They are loaded with herbs and resins. 2 of the main ones I have in there is dragon's blood and copal. I chose to use copal because I was taught, and I've always used copal as the heart of your voodoo doll or puppet to represent it. And I use dragon's blood because I basically used it as the more of kind of an energizing, protective, what's the word? Kind of like the life blood of the doll a bit. I didn't want to use bloodroot, which is sometimes used in them, just because I wanted to use some things that were, I guess, a little safer. And not to say bloodroot's not, but you can get some problems with the bloodroot, and I didn't want to put that in the dolls. Now, okay, let me use mine here, because mine was a little more wonky than some, and I decided to keep this one for myself. Okay. Most of these, when you look at them, look at him, he's kind of bent up. I tried to keep them on their back so that they would kind of bow up a little bit like this, so that you'd have this this little dip in the doll. This one had too close to the edge. His little hands bent. But there's the little dip in it. And this is going to come in handy when you get ready to put your petition on the back and seal it with the wax. That dip will help you out. I couldn't get this deep of a dip with all of them, but yours should have at least a little bit of a dip in it. It doesn't need it, but it's helpful. Excuse me. Okay. Alright, so you've got your doll, you've got your candle with your incense mixture, you've got your Palo Santo stick. So the first thing you're going to want to do with anything, any work that you do, y'all, is clean your area and take a bath. Take a nice cleansing bath, clear your mind, prepare for what you're going to do. You know, you don't want to be dragging stuff through the house into your work or on you into your work. It makes sense. It's just like if you were cooking. You're going to clean your stove off and your countertops and, you know, wash your hands. You're not wanting to just get whatever's laying around into whatever you're doing. Or you might, you know. I'm not one that likes to tell other people how to do their thing. So, that's what you like to do, you do it. But I'm not. So, you get ready. You can take your Palo Santo stick. You use it exactly the same way as you would sage. What you're going to do is you light the end of it until it, take a lighter or match to it until it lights. Let it burn just a little bit and blow it out. You're not going to want, it to have a flame on it constantly, because that's not where you're going to get your smoke. It's after the flame goes out when you're going to get the smoke that you want. There we go. So once you have that, do it exactly how you would sage. Smudge yourself. Smudge everything in your little packet. Your doll, the incense blend, the candle, everything. Just go ahead and smudge it. Now you need a heat-proof surface to put this on. Don't be burning your house down now, y'all. Don't blame me if you burn your house down. That's on you. Practice fire safety, y'all. So this will go out on its own, but I would not leave this by itself, just in case, like maybe your air kicks on and it hits it just right, and you know, like I said, fire safety. Okay, let me sit this over here out of the way. I moved a lot of my stuff around so I'd have a little bit of room here, and now I can't get to anything. Okay, so you've smudged everything, you've cleaned everything, you have your intent in mind for what you're going to do. I have left these fairly basic, y'all. I put the dragon's blood in there. I put the copal in there. I put a few other herbs and resins of incense blend in here that I personally used, that felt right to me. But it's basically to energize the little fella so you can get him to do what you want, right? So you've got all of that going, but if I wanted to keep it so that it wasn't very specific to any particular task, if that makes sense. That way you can use it for whatever you want to use it for, y'all. Whatever you use this thing for is on you. Don't eat it. You don't want to eat it, but I'm not recommending that. But whatever else you want to do as far as the job, the task, whatever you want to call it. If you want this for a love-related thing, he's perfect. If you want him for health, perfect. You can use him for anything. All right. So, you're going to take him. Now, say I was going to use this guy for health and happiness for myself. I wanted this little guy to represent me. I want his job to be to bring me health and happiness. Okay? I could take him right here on the back, write my name, write my birthday, write health and happiness on there. Okay, then you have him. You can do a lot of things, y'all. I'm trying to keep it simple. Excuse me, y'all. I don't know what's got my allergies. Well, actually, I do. I mowed grass yesterday, y'all. Still a little tore up. You can add oils onto him or her or it or whatever you want to call it. You can anoint them with oils. You can anoint them with bodily fluids if you want. A lot of people, that's how they practice. They use bodily fluids. Nothing wrong with that. If it goes along with what you're doing, go for it. You can even do that on your candle. Instead of using the oil on the candle when you first dress it before you put the powder on, you can use bodily fluids if you want. You can use milk if that feels right to you. You can use honey. Say this were a friendship spell or love spell or somewhere along those lines. You could take honey. Oh, it's out of reach. I was going to show you guys. You could take some honey, put a few drops on there, rub it into those engravings, and then put your blend, whatever it may be, in here. Also, that incense blend that I included, if you wanted, you can add to that. Just dump it out onto like a piece of paper, and like if it's a love spell, add some rose petals, crushed rose petals to it before you put it onto your candle. Look up, you can find it all over the internet, or something that I prefer to do, y'all, because I don't like to go by what everybody else out there is saying, because one thing you have to look at, y'all, is, are they trying to sell you something? And I know this is like for sale, right? But that's something that I always look at before I take anybody's advice. Are they trying to sell me something? What is their motive? If they're saying, like, you need to use this dragon's blood for protection and power and whatever, are you trying to sell me dragon's blood? Is that why you're, pushing it? Anyway, my point is, you use whatever feels right to you. If you want to add cinnamon to it, maybe cinnamon seems right to you. You want to give it some oomph, and cinnamon seemed like the thing to do. Put some cinnamon in there. If hot pepper is more of something that comes to mind, and you want to use hot pepper for whatever you're doing, put it in there. Just remember, y'all, some people have very sensitive skin, like me, and even my basic blend can irritate your skin. So wear gloves if you are sensitive to resins and herbs and things, especially if you're putting pepper in there, y'all. You don't want to forget and get that in your eye. You don't want to forget and get any of this in your eye or your mouth. Always wash your hands. So it's ready. Your candle is ready. Your doll is ready. What do you do next? Well, what I suggest in my my little handout that I included with this is to take you a piece of paper. A lot of people will say traditionally you take a piece of brown paper, like you've torn off of a brown paper bag. And you're going to make a petition with that. And y'all see what I'm doing here? I'm using different methods for the same thing. I'm trying to think of a good way to put this. We're using the candle, we're using the poppet, and we're also using like a petition. Now the petition is usually you can use with this or with a candle alone, but you're putting all of them together and you're kind of like focusing the energy of all of them into one, right? So make a petition. Take your piece of paper, doesn't have to be a brown paper bag. If you want to write it on a piece of printer paper, do that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. If that feels right to you, you do it. Take your piece of paper and write on it. Write whatever it is that you're wanting to happen with this. What do you want him to do, her to do, it to do? What are you wanting it to do? What is their purpose? Put it on there. It can be as simple as, like I said, health and happiness. It's also a good idea if you feel if you feel like it's needed. You don't have to, but if you feel that it's needed, add something into that little petition. Add, like for me, it's health and happiness. Lick my finger right on that paper. That tags that to me. That's a little bit of me on that piece of paper, right? Does that make sense? Maybe it's for my baby. I'm just an example here. Health and happiness. Maybe this is, and this isn't, because Lord, I'd never let that baby have this. He'd have it eat. Say that this was something of booze and he loved it and he always carried it around with him. So I could take this, put it in the piece of paper, and fold it up. Now, you don't want anything huge and bulky in there, like a pair of drawers, y'all. You know that's not gonna fit on here. If you wanted to use that, cut a little piece off of it. You know, you don't need the whole thing. More is not better sometimes, y'all. So put it in that piece of paper, fold it up. Now, there's different ways of folding depending upon the way you were taught. But generally how a lot of people believe is that if you fold the paper towards you, it's to bring something towards you. If you fold it away from you, it's sending something away. Excuse me. So fold it up. You're wanting like a packet so everything's not going to fall out. And you're going to put it on the back of your doll. It's basically the same as like with a little poppet or a little voodoo doll, a little cloth one, where you would stick your petition or like your little pieces, your little personal items inside of it. You're just going to put it on the back of it. Let me see, y'all. So here's a piece of paper I was scribbling on. Health and happiness, right? So I've got that on the inside. I've got this in there, whatever, a little piece of hair, clothing, whatever, inside of it. So I'm going to fold it up, right? Fold it up, make a little packet out of it. You don't have to fold it up very small. You just kind of want to get it small enough so that it will kind of fit on your doll without hanging over the sides too much. Now, because this is a smaller doll, if you have a lot of stuff packed in here, a lot of extras, what's going to happen is that this is going to raise up. It's not going to stay very easily on your doll. So what you can do is you can take some string, and then here goes deeper into multiple methods to an end, y'all. So I'll give you a different example. So say that this was like for love. A lot of people associate the color red with love. Red is also a color of passion. Passion does not mean necessarily love, y'all. Passion is just a strong feeling for whatever. Doesn't have to be love. But if to you red means love and that's all it means, use it for that, y'all. So you're going to take your doll and you're going to take your string and you're going to attach this to your doll, right? So you're just going to kind of get it on there so that you have a piece of string. It's going to keep that attached. It's not going to fall off. You can take it around several times. You can do it, if it feels right to go around it 3 times, do it 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 7 times, 9 times, whatever it is. Do it. Put it on there. It's not going to hurt anything. So you've got it on there. This is just kind of keeping it in place. And depending upon what you're doing, this can actually aid, because it's almost like binding if you look at it that way. So, you've got this in place. Now, what you're going to do is take your candle. Now, I'm doing it health and happiness for myself, right? So, in the other video, I explained that you want to put like initials, birthday, zodiac signs, whatever on this candle. So this will be on your candle. You don't have to, but that's what I would do. It's basically going to make it more personal to you. So you're going to take your candle and your doll. I would suggest, highly suggest, using a heat-proof surface, a large heat-proof surface, so that you're not catching anything on fire or you're not getting wax on something you don't want to get, that you don't want to get wax on, y'all, like right there, because that is hard to get off. All right. Take a match, take a lighter, whatever. With your intent in mind. Light her up. Now what you're going to do is, keeping that intent in mind, you're going to melt this wax on your packet. Yes, this takes a while, but that's the whole point. Anything that's worth having takes work and time, right? Or that's what I was taught anyway. Not everyone has the same values, so you have to keep that in mind. You don't want this right down there to catch your packet on fire. So make sure you keep it kind of well above your little packet. Be careful, don't get this wax on yourself. It will burn. Now, as you can see, I'm just slowly taking this candle, letting this wax drip on this packet. So it's basically going to make a little shell over your petition, binding it to your little puppet or your voodoo doll, whatever you want to call it. You're just going to slowly go around, keeping in mind what you're wanting. Now, if you sit down here and try to do all this at once, what's going to happen is that you're going to end up with a, you'll probably end up with a mess. You're not going to want to sit down and do this whole thing in one setting. Your wax, as it kind of builds up on top of itself, it's not going to harden and dry very well. So you're going to want to do so much. Give it time to harden, give it time to dry, and then come back to it. I would do this over several days. See, as you can see, it's kind of pulling up on that side. And what'll happen is if I keep on doing this, if I keep sitting here and just dripping this in one spot, it's going to run over and off the front of my little doll. And that's not what we're going to want. It's not going to hurt anything if it does, but you pretty much want to keep your wax on the back. Like he's got a little backpack on. That's kind of what it looks like. He's got a little backpack. And so as you can see, that's why it'll give you an idea of why you're going to want to keep the items that you place into your petition small. Because the bigger they are, the bigger your packet is going to be. And the harder it's going to be to seal it onto the back of your doll. Now I'm kind of coming out on the sides here a little bit. That's just kind of help it stick. Now, if you've never done anything with a candle, be careful. As I've said, fire safety. Don't do something stupid and burn your house down, get yourself hurt, nothing like that. Always be mindful of the flame. Now, as you see, it's getting down to my sign here that's got the resin and the herbs in it. So those are going to kind of start to melt, to burn a little bit. And you'll smell those a bit as you're doing this. Like I said though, y'all, keeping in mind your intent for this. I'm talking to you all, so this is just, to show you all. And this is just one way to do it, y'all. If this don't feel right to you, don't do it. Do it your way. Do it somebody else's way. Do it however it feels right. Okay. I could go on a little bit more because this is actually doing pretty good here, but I'm going to stop here. So put your candle out. However you believe you have to put a candle out. Some people think that you can't blow a candle out. I'm not one of them. But if you are one that thinks that you cannot do that, or you believe you cannot do that, then don't do that. Take your fingers. If you've got tough fingers, I don't have tough fingers, y'all, so I ain't doing the little pinchy thing. That hurts. Put a little cup over the top of it to snuff it out. However, okay. Let your little guy set. Let your wax harden up. Let it cool down. So you can see you've got a little encasing on the back of your doll. I should have took that on around so it'd look a little bit better, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter the way he looks. Not to me anyway. I like them a little rough. Alright, so tomorrow or later today or maybe 3 days from now, maybe 3 days from now feels right. I'll come back, I'll do some more of the candle on here. Let it harden up, do some more until you get down kind of to the end. You don't want to be holding this when it's down to a nub trying to put it on there because you're going to burn yourself. Don't do that, y'all. Once you get to the very end, like the last little bit of it, like the last fifth or so, save that little piece and you can burn it. I'll tell you about that in a minute. So, you got your packet. Say you're finished. You got it completely sealed in. You don't have to use the whole candle for that. You don't have to. Just use some of it until it's pretty well covered and encased in here. You want a good thick covering over it so that it doesn't break off very easily. Because my little packet is so small, it won't take much more to completely cover it. I've just got a little piece showing right there. I could use a little more on there, but this is actually pretty good. You've got it done. Say it's finished. Okay. You're going to take your little guy, and traditionally, you're going to name it. So I'd give him a name. You're going to blow upon him. It's blowing on him is kind of like blowing life into him. And tell him his name and his purpose, or its purpose. Keep saying he. Mine's a dude, I guess, y'all. So you're going to blow upon him and say, John Doe, you are to see to my health and happiness. Something along those lines. Not the best thing that I can come up with at 3 o'clock in the morning, y'all, but you see where I'm going with this. You're going to put him in a safe spot. Take it out every day. Like, I could probably get my candle down to here, and I'll have a good casing on the back of it. So I'd have plenty of candle left. You can use this same candle. Bring him out every day. Put him out. Light your candle. Tell him what he's supposed to do. Every day. If every day don't feel right, every 3 days. However often. But you have to remind him of who he is and what he's supposed to be doing. And have an offering of energy. Whether it be in a lit candle or a little food offering whatever. And you can look online to see what a lot of other people do. There's a lot of people that do a lot of different things, y'all. So that's pretty much it. When you get ready to get rid of this, you tell him he's no longer needed. Whatever you told him, basically you're going to tell him that it's no longer required, that his job is done, it's no longer required. Take it apart. If that sounds silly to you and you don't want to do that, and it just feels right that you can just cut the strings and pull the wax off the back of it, do it. He could go in a little cup of water and dissolved and throw it away. You could pull your paper off of there and burn it. You know, it's however you feel right with it. Just whatever you do, y'all. Don't litter. Don't litter. That's a big thing is I see trash all over the place, and that just bugs me. And I know some people, that's what they believe, is like you'd leave it at the crossroads. I mean, if that's what you're going to do, that's what you're going to do. But like if you were to leave him at the crossroads, he'd get a little rain on him and he'd fall apart eventually. So it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Now, remember, y'all, this is just my way of doing it. There are many ways of doing this sort of thing. And I am assuming that that's something that you're interested in doing, since you are watching this video or you bought this box and have this item. I know this is offensive to some people, but if this is offensive to you, why are you watching the video, you know? Don't watch the video. Don't watch something if it's offensive to you. I know a lot of people don't believe this way, but there are a lot of people who do. And this is basically for those out there that do or are curious about it. So, as I've said, there's a lot of channels out there. There's a lot of information on how to do this sort of thing. If you don't like my way, try a different channel. Try a different book. Find out a way that seems right to you, or follow your gut. Just do how it feels right, you know. So, all right. I hope you all have a good night, good day. Oh my goodness, this video is so long. So much for a short video, y'all. All right, have a good one.